Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and yet another episode of my F1 2018 career mode. Today we are here for the Canadian Grand Prix, run number 7 of the season, and we are firmly back in the career mode swing of things. 3 career mode episodes in 3 days, guys. I can't believe I'm saying that. And if you did miss the last 2, Monaco and Spain, then do watch those please, guys. There'll be a card in the top right hand corner of your screen. But with that being said, as you can see, we arrived for this weekend with rain forecast for qualifying mainly, so that's going to make things very, very tasty. And as you can see, looking at the R&D chart coming to this weekend, quite a few big changes here, especially in the top half of the table. For the first time, Ferrari do not lead in the R&D chart this season, and Sauber actually leading the way with Renault in second. Ferrari dropped down to third place, we hold on to fourth, and then also Haas there close up the gap towards the bottom of the table. And generally speaking, there's pretty much 2 halves now. You've got the top 3 teams, and then you've got Mercedes all the way down to Haas. So pretty much a very mixed up R&D tree, and we have obviously got a big upgrade coming for Silverstone, a ultimate chassis upgrade, which should hopefully help us out big time, and hopefully in that period from there until now, or now until then more like, we can try and get some more upgrades on our car to try and make it better. With that being said, we're going to jump straight into qualifying, and we're going to see how things shake out. Now straight on the intermediates, I can tell you the session was pretty much wet all the way through. It never really managed to dry up in time. The conditions did improve there. You can see right now there's a lot of spray, and the track is actually in heavy rain conditions, but you'll see the spray reduce as the session goes on. And nonetheless, we're going to focus now on our laps here. We went for about 3 or 4 runs on the inters because we're not going to need these anymore this weekend, so we can afford to use them. And getting out of shape there as we set our first lap, a P3, a couple of tenths off first place on our first run on the inters. But we went back out on another set, as you can see on screen, and bang, hit the wall, lost an end plate, and not ideal, to be honest with you. Just tried to push the limits a little bit too hard. So I came back in, tried to go for another run on a fresh set of inters, and as you can see, we cut that corner there, just generally making a few mistakes and being a little bit scruffy in the session. I did have a lot of screen freezing, which you'll see at the moment, because when it came to my final run, I couldn't do much about it. Now eventually, you can see we came towards the end of that lap, which I invalidated on, and I decided to go for another run on the same set of tyres. So here we go, we're going to run on board because this was my best lap of the session. So we're going to stay on board all the way through as we go through turn 2. Ferrari on the left hand side, there's Sebastian Vettel actually, the man who's currently on pole, just leaving the pit lane, but we do manage to get in front as we get the power down. Now down a couple of gears for this right-left chicane combination. A little bit deep on the first one, which kind of ruined my line through the second, but we managed to hold it together almost flat through the right as we avoid losing the rear end as we now go through a left-right chicane combo. Very, very tricky here. You need to have a lot of patience when it comes to throttle application and putting the power down on the exit there through that right-hander as we now go towards the next right-left chicane combo here. Really aggressive on that inside curb on the first one to really open up the second. Little screen freeze there halfway through as we now get the power once again, and we look for the braking point into the hairpin just before 100 meter board down to second gear. I go a little bit too hot and I brake just after the 100 meter board. Lucky that we do bring the car around using first gear, and we get a great exit, finding phenomenal traction as we go up into overtake ERS, and we're going to burn overtake all the way down this straight to really maximise the lap time as we look for the 100 meter board. Once again, here as our reference to brake for the chicane. 5th gear, be careful to not invalidate your lap time, and then don't hit the wall as we get a nice clean exit. Keep it to the right hand side for the shortest run to the line, and we do go P1 and fastest of anyone in the wet conditions, and once again proving that in the wet we are pretty damn quick. However, I still had 1 set of inters left, so I went back out and tried to do another lap. However, as you can see here, little screen freeze mid corner, which actually ruined my corner and pretty much ruined my lap because it kind of took the momentum out of me and it kind of took me out of my flow a bit. So I thought to myself, right, okay, not a problem, we'll go again, just like in the last run, we'll forget about the first lap and we'll go for another lap on the same tyres. So as you can see, the flag has dropped and we are going for another lap on the same set of tyres here, and we're currently a tenth or so up. We're really doing well here, but then coming into the brake zone, you'll see for yourself just a bit of a screen freeze there, which pretty much ruined my chances and set me straight on at the chicane, and unfortunately I wasn't able to improve my lap time. So yeah, that fast lap from before is the one that's going to ultimately count as we qualify P5, but it definitely could have been pole 1. I know I had pace for pole position, and I reckon I could have easily got into the 114s there, but ultimately it wasn't to be. Too many issues with performance and dropping too many frames, too many lag spikes. But all in all, Sebastian Vettel takes pole here at Canada with Charles Leclerc in P2 in the Sauber car, and then my teammate, to be fair, Lewis Hamilton, a good job from him in P3 there with Raikkonen in P4, and then we get 5th ahead of Carlos Sainz. Fernando Alonso, Daniel Ricciardo, Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen rounding off the top 10, with Ricciardo Ricciardo picking up a grid penalty. But all in all, no time glitches, pretty respectable lap times as you can see, and that's kind of where the pace is. But all in all, not too bad, a very decent session here, and I think we can definitely capitalise on this in the race tomorrow, and hopefully the free choice of tyre makes for an interesting race. With that being said, that is the story of qualifying. We're now going to move into Sunday for the race for the Canadian Grand Prix.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Now I want to ask you about Kevin Magnussen. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Raikkonen, Martinez and Sainz, Alonso, Perez, Verstappen and Nico Hülkenberg, Ocon, Hartley, Daniel Ricciardo. They've taken a grid penalty, and Van Dorn, Grosjean, Gasly, Sergei Sirotkin and Marcus Ericsson. Stroll and Kevin Magnussen rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right then, here we are on the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix here at the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. And as you can see, we are P5, just like we saw in qualifying, and we have a couple of strong cars in front of us here in the form, especially the Ferraris, which we need to try and beat now. After the last couple of races, we really got ourselves back into championship contention, but the work isn't done yet. And, you know, we need to try and push on here. We recently retook the lead in the Constructors, and the pressure is on. We need to try and perform here. And you've got two Ferraris and two Mercedes in the top 5 with a wild shot of Leclerc sprinkled in between. But all in all, it's going to be a very, very interesting race, this one. Canada's always, you know, good for action, and hopefully it all goes well. Now, in terms of the strategy today, we have sunny conditions pretty much all the way through with a little bit of cloud. However, as you can see on the strategy, because of the qualifying being in the wet, we're all going to have a free choice of tyre, and I expect everyone in the top 10, dare I say the entire grid, to start on the Ultras and transition over to the Supers on a one-stop strategy. So with that being said, fuel-wise, we have gone 1.5 laps over. I originally had quite a lot more fuel in the car. I've taken it down quite a bit due to the efficiency of the car. And also, it has to be said, with this strategy and the tyre limitations, the overtakes are going to have to be done on track today, and also potentially some undercutting or overcutting. So with that being said, it's going to be a very tricky race, and it's going to have to be one of them ones where we need to have the actual pace on track to make things happen. So let's see how it goes, and hopefully we can have a good race. With that being said, it is now time for round 7 for the Canadian Grand Prix. Right, let's get ready for the 5 red lights here at Montreal. The lights are on and they are off, and away we go. Not a bad start, has to be said. Pretty decent. We kind of match everyone in the top 4 as we run a little bit deep into turn 2 on purpose to try and avoid anyone going side by side with us. As Leclerc and Vettel go side by side, Hamilton has lost the place off the start. Vettel's just about held on to his lead as Leclerc goes P2. We have a massive sideways moment there. Tyres are not fully up to temperature just yet in the optimum working range, and that was a very scary sideways moment. Then there could be the end of our race on lap 1. Alonso in the McLaren P6, great start from him, but so far so good here on lap 1. Just got to try and settle into the race conditions now. I've got to get used to how this car feels in the dry after a wet qualifying, which was a bit of an adaptation process. Bit of a poor exit as well just a couple of corners ago, but we're now going to try and focus on getting a strong exit out the hairpin here, try and get the toe of my teammate and not lose too much ground. We're definitely down on straight line speed here, I can tell already. Even though we are running 2 8 wings, we are down on a straight line speed. I noticed I forgot to show you guys my setup, so I'll maybe show it in the next race as I get all out of shape through the chicane there. It's going to put me in the back foot. Here comes Alonso. I'm going to try and cover the inside. Try and show Alonso the long way around. Deep into turn 1 there. I'm all over the place at the minute. Alonso with the switchback. I'm going to try and go for the squeeze on the exit. There we go. But Fernando really giving me the hurry up here as he goes around the outside. No way through there, surely not. And that time is going to cost him a little bit of time as he drops back a little bit. And that should give me what I need to try and pull away, hopefully, from the McLaren. But we are slow on the straight. I think I'm running 2.8 wings. Differential is 170. Then we have the... what's next? I think it's the toe and camber. So I've got full right and full left, which is what you do at every single track pretty much. And then the suspension, I'm running 2.1 suspension, and then I think roll bars are 7.6, and then ride heights are 3.4, 2.4, something like that. Anyway, back to the racing here. Alonso trying to gain on me here. I'm using overtake ERS to try and carry the speed through the chicane. Let's try and get some momentum. But we are definitely on the back foot here early on. Pace is not really there at the minute on the straights anyway. DRS now enabled, so let's try and catch up to Lewis if we can. Try and get that DRS, that's going to really help us out. Oh, there we go, personal best, fastest final sector, finally getting a bit of a gap out to the cars behind. I think there was also a little bit of contact there, and there's a little bit more contact now. Yellow flag behind. Trying to get the hammer down though. As we pick up our first track extend of the race. Right, I've had to use rich mix and also hot lap ERS. And we're finally starting to find some pace here as we close the gap to Lewis. It seems like though both myself and Lewis don't have the pace to match the front three here today. Lewis dropping back from the Ferraris and Leclerc in the Sauber. Another strong lap here, closing the gap to Lewis quite a bit now. A 0.3. Decent progress. And tyres are looking pretty good temperature wise. I just had a little look. They're still all below 100 degrees Celsius. Big screen freeze there. Yellow flag behind, something might have happened. And it's actually Lewis, I think. I think it's Lewis, yes. Hamilton, I think he might have a puncture. Or he's had a car problem, but Hamilton slows down. The championship leader comes to a standstill right in front of us there. Is Lewis out? I think he's got a puncture. I'm pretty sure Lewis has one of the puncture. No, he's out. There you go. Confirmed. Hamilton retires from the race. So we now get promoted to P4. But that's the big one. Hamilton retires from the Canadian Grand Prix on lap 6. Wow, that is huge for the championship already here. At the moment, this is kind of where our pace is. I'm not really sure if I see myself catching the front three, I've got to be honest, as we pass Lewis there. And he's stricken Mercedes. I've gone back down to standard mix because there's still a long way to go in this race and I want to use some rich mix later on. But right now, I'd say we start off the race pretty poorly for pace and I've kind of found my rhythm now. The only problem is the front three have got enough of a gap now where even though I might have good rhythm, it's not going to be enough to catch them. So I'm kind of now relying on a safety car, a VSC, really to close the gap and try and catch them back up again. Also, Hulkenberg is starting to catch me a little bit as well in the Renault, which we know is a very fast car. So let's see how this one pans out. But this isn't over just yet, but I definitely can't see myself going forwards at the minute. It's more a case of not going backwards. Temperatures look absolutely phenomenal around here, so that's not going to be a problem whatsoever. We can definitely lean on these tyres, which is good. So I'm definitely going to start doing that a little bit more now towards the second half of this stint. Good thing is this car is also very efficient, so it's very easy to save fuel in ERS. So I might go on another push in a minute if Hulkenberg gets any closer because I'm starting to save quite a bit of fuel. Right, back up into rich mix. We're going to try and go for a little bit more of a push here and see if we can make some inroads on the cars in front. It should be a strong lap as well. There you go, personal best, fastest final sector, and we are catching Kimi and Charles Leclerc. So this race is not over yet. I'm starting to find my pace a little bit, partly thanks to the tyres being in a very nice sweet spot. Another personal best into the 1 minute 9.1s. Strong pace at the minute. I can't catch Kimi because right now he's got DRS on Leclerc every single lap. I think Leclerc's got a strong pace. I mean, we know the Sauber is the fastest car, and Kimi's just kind of getting dragged along with him. Right, it's time to come in then for our one and only scheduled pit stop of this race. A strong first stint, has to be said. I found my feet, but very late. Kimi comes in. Let's get this slowed down to the 80. There we go. Nice stuff. So Vettel's in, Leclerc's in. Raikkonen stays out for one more lap. Now, maybe an undercut's possible. There we go, 2.3 stop. Not the best one you'll ever see, but No hold up, pretty smooth stop. There's Leclerc in front of us, so we've got a reference point. But let's see how this pans out. I think an undercut on Kimi is unlikely, but we could definitely gain some time on him. Let's make sure we come out of no traffic. Verstappen's there. But we should be okay to rejoin in front of Verstappen. There we go. Right, so P5 on track. Let's have a strong out lap and let's see how this goes. Right, so cars in the pit lane. We go back to P4. There we go. Our fastest final sector, but you can see Kimi there. He's already rejoined the racetrack, so we haven't made much of a dent, to be honest, in the gap. I'm still going to push on though while the tyres are fresh. Personal best. Gap down to 4.8, so it hasn't really changed at all in that entire pit stop phase. It's actually gone up a little bit, so annoying, but kind of what was expected. I just don't think we've got the pace in this car around this circuit, which is a real shame because tyre temperatures are not a factor around here, and I'm really driving well. But I can't make much of a dent, unfortunately. Those other cars are just a little bit too fast. Well, we're into the negative of fuel. I'm going to keep going though because fuel saving is quite easy around here, so let's keep pushing. Especially because you never know what could happen. I've seen a bit of lap traffic there. Kimi's having to get through as well as we match our personal best. Personal best. Pushing on here, gap to Kimi 4 seconds, but I'm kind of going to have to go into standard mix now. A little bit too far in the negative fuel wise. I'm just going to run standard engine modes and see if I can keep this pace up as best as I can, really. That's all I can do. I'm also trying to get through the traffic without any issues. I'm just cruising now at the minute. I've got to be honest, I can't see myself scoring a podium this race. I need a miracle to happen because the pace is just so intense around here. There's not much margin in terms of, you know, benefit for pace when I'm pushing it max out. It really isn't as I pick up my second track extend of the race, so I kind of need to be careful now also because that track extend I'm on my final warning. So yeah, pretty much unless there's like a VSC or a safety car, I can't see much happening in this race, to be honest, which is a shame because Cannes is always a good race, but the way it's panned out, it just wasn't to be. Let's see if we can get rid of Sirotkin here. Blue flag conditions. Hopefully he gets out of the way in a nice way and doesn't cause me any pain. Almost went deep down the brakes. Gap wise, Hulkenberg is catching a little bit. Raikkonen now pulling away. And it's kind of where we're at, to be honest. This is me driving at I'd still say a strong pace. And it's not fast enough. The only way I'm fast enough is if I drive at 110%, but I can't do that every lap because I don't have the resources in fuel or ERS to do it. This is just purely coming down this race to the car. A bit like Spain, to be honest. Only so much we can do. I feel like I'm driving a good race, but the car is ultimately the real reason why I can't really make any more progress, really. Sirotkin here. Oh, he's not going to get out of the way now, is he? Not now. Not now. Sirotkin, mate, you're really not doing any favours here. Oh my god. Right, thank god we've cleared that. Hopefully Hulkenberg gets held up. That's cost me a lot of time. He had the whole lap to get out of the way and he did it there. I mean, that's ridiculous. There's one of the other just yet. Hulkenberg 1.7 behind now. He's really getting close. And I'm struggling to find my pace like I did earlier on. It seems like it's got a bit cloudy here. Temperature's miles dropped and I've lost a bit of grip in the tyres. Okay, Hulkenberg's on me then. He's going to have DRS, so I'm focusing on my exits now. Out of all the DRS zones. Big screen freeze there. Hulkenberg coming at me here in the Renault. I don't think it'll be close enough for the chicane. There we go. Good stuff. That should be me clear at least for one more lap. Oh, great. Here he comes. Around the outside. I'm going to try and hold on the inside line. Very late on the brakes there, but we made it work. The AI gets such incredible traction out of that right-hander. It's unreal. Like, it doesn't matter how perfect of an exit you get, the AI just have a godlike traction. Either way, Hulkenberg's going to keep the pressure on here, so we need to keep swinging. Once again, good traction, but Hulkenberg trying it once again around the outside. No way through. This is going to be a frustrating one. I think that's going to be the pattern every single lap. That's where he's going to keep getting alongside me on that back straight. A little bit deep down the brakes. Not a problem though, we can set up the exit. Having said that, it wasn't my best ever exit, so Hulkenberg might have a chance here. Right, he's very close. Look at the speed of the Renault. Oh my god. That Renault is fast. Look at that, he's absolutely done me. So Hulkenberg goes through. He takes P4. He's going to have DRS as well. Not much I can do. Just going to try and follow him now. 2 laps to go. Let's try and stick with him and use DRS. Hulkenberg's got some very strong pace here. I really am struggling to keep up. I don't know what it is. But in the second part of this race, I've just lost all pace. Really just don't have any performance in the car. Purple final sector at least. As we lock up into turn 1. I need to stay close here to have any chance of getting Hulkenberg this lap. Wow, Hulkenberg is really going for it here. I can't keep up. What is this? Come on, hairpin time. Wow, I'm no chance. I'm miles away. Absolutely miles away.
They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Okay, so Leclerc car issues apparently, but I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. Here we go. Let's push this final chicane. Oh, I've got it all wrong. Poor line through there. Wow. Disappointing, man. Just no pace in the car at all. Really no pace. Not sure what to say about that one. 4/10 off a personal best on that last lap. Yeah, Hulkenberg just flew. P5. Not good.
It just goes to show what a strong position the sport is in, that these independent teams can be so competitive. What a superb victory from the Sauber team.
Right, so there we have it then. Leclerc wins at Montreal for Sauber. What a performance. He actually beat Vettel right at the end there. And Vettel's getting P2 ahead of Kimi Räikkönen, who finished 3rd. And it's pretty much a Ferrari-powered 1-2-3 with Nico Hulkenberg P4 snatching it from me at the end. We get P5. Ultimately, the best we could have done on the day. I mean, even the fastest laps kind of speak for themselves. You know, we just didn't have that pace today. And, you know, Hamilton as well, before he retired, you could see he was dropping off the front 3. So, ultimately, it comes down to car performance, and we are just not good enough at the minute. You can see Alonso there, P6, Sainz, P7, Perez, 8, Verstappen at P9, and then Ericsson scoring the final point there in the other Sauber car. 43 seconds adrift of his teammate, who ended up winning the race. Absolutely incredible. And then further down the order, confirmation that Hamilton did indeed retire from that race. So, very unfortunate. But in terms of the driver standings, Raikkonen now leads the way by 6 points over Lewis. Vettel P3 remains there, but we, I won't say close the gap because we lost points to Kimi, but we stay in touch. And, you know, we're only 25 points off the top. Sorry, off 20 points off the top. Charles Leclerc is 25 points off the top though after that win, and he really brings himself into contention. And Sainz still ahead of Hulkenberg, even though Hulkenberg scored that decent points haul. But all in all, it's looking pretty interesting. And I can't really say it's a 4, 5 or 6 horse race. I mean, there's a couple of cars in there that are looking all very competitive. And it's ultimately going to come down to the development race. Now, in terms of the constructors, you can see Ferrari re-overtake us with that 2-3 finish, and they score massive points all over us, as McLaren also overtake Racing Point and Force India. And yeah, we are 17 points off the top, with Renault looking strong and Sauber as well. But all in all, that is going to be it for Montreal, guys. And we don't really have enough points for any major upgrades, not yet anyway. So we're going to basically skip to the next race and try and save some points, and hopefully buy something come the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. Sorry. But if you guys did enjoy this episode of Career, then please do drop a like on the video. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content, and turn notifications to not miss a single upload from me. Finally, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching this episode of Career Mode so much, and I'll see you in my next video. But until then, it's goodbye from me.